About freaking time, the 49ers just announced that they are waiving kicker Jake Moody. This was about 2 years overdue. Obviously, they weren't going to release him in 23 given that he was a rookie. However, I remember going up to the game in Cleveland in 2023. I want to say it was like week 5, week 6. And Jake Moody missed a 40 yard field goal to give the 49ers their first loss of the season. Right then and there, I couldn't stand Jake Moody. He ruined my entire day in Cleveland. However, obviously that year, given that it was his rookie year, they definitely weren't going to give up on him. Fast forward to 2024, he has one of the worst seasons I have ever seen by an NFL kicker. Somehow, some way, they don't move on from him following last year. They go into training camp. He allegedly beats out veteran kicker Greg Joseph, which was asinine considering Greg Joseph was actually... Greg Joseph had made more field goal attempts than Jake Moody did. Somehow, I think given, pride, given Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch having pride in front of them, somehow they release Greg Joseph instead of Jake Moody, and Jake Moody stays on this roster. And then going into week 1, Jake Moody misses 2 field goals. One was a inside 27 yards. That was, wide left. So he misses the first field goal, and then the second field goal gets blocked before he finally, miraculously, makes a 30-something yard field goal attempt against Seattle Sunday. So then Kyle Shanahan comes out following the game in a press conference and then says, Jake Moody, there's no question that he's going to be the kicker going into next week. But then yesterday the tone kind of changed. And he said that he was going to be evaluating the kicker and basically indicated that everything is on the table and that they could have potentially move on from Jake Moody. The day's finally here. They officially have waived Jake Moody. I think really it comes down to him missing that field goal inside 27 yards. That completely changed the entire trajectory of the way that game was being called by Kyle Shanahan. That, put the 49ers in a very bad spot. It killed all their momentum, and they ended up being down by 3 going into half. Now, obviously, the 49ers ended up winning that game, but that game could have very well been lost, and there would have been nobody else to blame but Jake Moody. Now, obviously, the offense didn't play too good. Brock Purdy had a couple turnovers. That's neither here nor there. Jake Moody would have been the main reason that the 49ers would have lost that game had they did lose that game. So, thank God that Brock Purdy came to save the day and Jacob Tonjes came to save the day. However, the Jake Moody era is over. They finally get their pride out of the way and release the former third-round pick. This was very much so overdue, and I cannot believe the 49ers moved their pride out of the way to release him. This should have happened mid-season last year, but somehow it didn't happen. But it doesn't matter. Now we're here in present time, and Jake Moody is off his freaking football team. So Jake Moody, good riddance. You will not be missed. In terms of replacement kickers for Jake Moody, there's a couple names that immediately come to mind to me. Number 1, Greg Joseph. He's the guy that competed with Jake Moody throughout training camp. Somehow Jake Moody, again, allegedly beat him out. I don't think that was true. I think, again, the 49ers were just trying to do everything they could to hang on to their third-round pick and not have to admit that they screwed up in that draft. However, Greg Joseph could very well be an option. If I was Greg Joseph, I would tell the 49ers to pound sand. I wouldn't sign with the 49ers after they elected to go with Jake Moody following training camp. But that's just me. The other guy that I could potentially see them signing is Zane Gonzalez, who they signed last year. The 49ers love bringing back familiar faces. They just did it yesterday with bringing back Kendrick Bourne, and they're known for that. And I would have there's no doubt in my mind that they're going to bring back somebody that they've recently signed, or that they have signed in recent years. So my guess would be A, Greg Joseph or Zane Gonzalez. I think, to me, if I was a gambling man, I'd probably put my money on Greg Joseph being the kicker, but I could be wrong. So the day's finally come. He's finally off this freaking team. Jake Moody's finally gone. And now the 49ers it feels like there's a weight been lifted off of everybody's shoulders knowing that Jake Moody is gone. Again, man, like this thing has been, 2 years in the making. But again, at the end of the day, none of that matters at this point anymore because he's officially off the team. So good riddance, Jake Moody. You will not be missed.